Bring me his head.
Just another death in this man's long, critically acclaimed career.
Didn't last long, did
It didn't last long.
it?
First season, but hey, man, we enjoyed watching him in many of his works. DB, I'm gonna let you just run down a litany of some of the great films he's been a part of.
Well, Lord of the Rings, Patriot Games.
Let that breathe. You can't just say, okay, go ahead.
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings. Come on, man. All right, yes, there you go.
Patriot Games.
Oh, there you go, Patriot.
National Treasure.
Oh, yeah.
One of my personal favorites was Ronin, alongside Robert De Niro, when he played the chicken shit thief who ended up vomiting because he couldn't even stomach having to kill people.
Yes.
But you did live in that movie.
I did live.
live.
Surprisingly. Yeah.
Welcome to one and only Sean Bean is here, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
How you doing, man? Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. It's nice to see all you guys.
He looked shocked when he walked in.
Like, who the hell are these people?
Is this a party at this time in the morning? Yeah, Sean.
Ronin was a good film too that I enjoyed working with De Niro and guys like that, man. Do you? I mean, you have such a great career. Do you still get excited about people you work opposite of? Like,
Yeah. Yes, I do, yeah. I mean, Peter O'Toole was always a big hero of mine, and I when I was a kid, I used to watch him on television, up in Sheffield, where I used to come from in Yorkshire. And I never dreamt that one day I'd be actually working with him.
Yeah.
I didn't actually work. It was in Troy with Brad Pitt, and I didn't actually have anything to say with him, but I went out and have a drink and played pool with him, which was even better.
You got to drink and play pool with him?
Yeah.
I'd be so scared of like hanging
I was
out.
slightly in awe when I first saw him, and but he's I saw him, and he was in a dressing gown with a T-shirt of a cricketer called Darren Gough, and he had a cigarette holder and just exactly how you imagine him to be, and it was he lived up to expectations, and it was just a wonderful thing. But people like De Niro, and there's many actors which it's a wonderful thing to be able to work with people you admire and you respect, and who excite you as actors. Yeah.
I work with Heather B right here, who's a hip hop icon every single morning, and that's how I feel. You know what I mean?
He's not right. I do want to talk about
He's not right.
iconic. He's not right, Sean. I do want to talk about iconic films though, because I'm a big James Bond fan, and I remember seeing you in GoldenEye and just thinking like, wow, do you get the jitters, like nervous to go into like these classic films that have been made over and over, and they have a certain standard, when you try to make these films over. What was it like for you doing GoldenEye?
GoldenEye, yes, it was. Well, as you said, nothing can really prepare you for that, even though we've seen 007 many times and this and that. And it was Pierce Brosnan's first
edition of it,
go with Bond, and he's a wonderful man and very welcoming, and he made things very created a wonderful environment, not just for myself but for everyone else. And it was his first film as Bond. But there's not much that can prepare you or
were you nervous yourself, like going into it?
I'm always nervous about
really?
going into things. Yeah.
Sean, are you nervous right now, Sean?
I'm absolutely terrified. Okay. But I mean, it's like going to school. The first day at school. Once you've got that over with, you don't care. But you sit up, you lay awake nights sometimes thinking, oh shit, I've got to start on Monday, on this line. But it's always a challenge, It's always you never know if you're really going to pull it off or not.
Good. Sean, it's so great to meet you, man. Your acting career has been phenomenal and stellar. But I want to talk about Game of Thrones just for a second, because Game of Thrones has really captivated the hearts and minds of just global citizens in terms of its narration. What is it about Game of Thrones that you believe appeals to the human condition, and why do we love it so much?
I don't. It's different. It's. I mean, there are many stories that are told, mythical stories and stories that are set in the past, but nothing quite kind of reflects the kind of reality like a Game of Thrones. It's not afraid to, make very big decisions during the course of the show in regards to plot and in regards to characters. I was kind of the star of the first season, and they chopped my head off, so they're not scared. They're certainly not scared of getting rid of some of the cast. Happened. I knew about it. I knew it was coming. But and not that it's got it's quite it's quite a daring and brave show in that it deals with family and family incest and sex and violence, but it's not shy to touch upon sensitive or controversial subjects, and it looks wonderful. I mean, and it is so beautifully kind of executed, and it's so well thought out by this writer George R. Martin that. I mean, it's quite incredible. It's almost like Lord of the Rings, the history behind it. Mm-hmm. It's not just something that's been thrown together to say, oh, look, we've got mythical figures in this drama. He actually kind of lived his life by this, and everything, there's no loose end. Everything will come back, and it'll to the source material, and everything will make absolute sense.
Did you watch the following seasons, or after you got your hair cut off, or?
Nah.
Well, since we're talking about some of your past work, we had.
He was so eloquent in how he described the whole thing.
Nah, I didn't bother.
Well, Sean, since we're talking about your past work, we had Padma Lakshmi here, who you starred with on Sharp's Challenge, and so she had these words to say about you when she came.
I was just asking him how he is and how his football team is, because he's a rabid football fan. And yes, I did a movie with him, which was wonderful, and he's like the swashbuckling guy. He's exactly as you see him on there. Sometimes he would come home from filming, have a few pints, and then just fall asleep on a lawn chair, like outside by the pool in the hotel. And the next morning, we would kind of shake him awake when the bus was going to set, like, okay, let's go. Wow. Tell him I said hi. He's great.
You recollect that?
Right.
Is that a pint, Sean? What is that?
It's a pint of coffee.
Pint of coffee. All right. No comment.
Yeah, she was really nice, Padma. And,
all right. Well, we're gonna come back. We'll reapproach that. You're in a new series called The Oath, executive produced by our good friend, the one and only Curtis 50 Cent Jackson. And we're going to talk about that up next and open the phone line. Sean Bean is here, 888-742-3345.
So, I'm not going to forgive it.
Yeah, man, that's a clip from a really exciting new TV series called The Oath, available now on Crackle. Executive produced by somebody who's been having a lot of success as an EP.
Oh, yeah.
The one and only Curtis 50 Cent Jackson.
Fishy?
Shit should be hot. And he got Sean Bean in this new one, ladies and gentlemen. 50's on the rise. It's called The Oath. When you take a dive into it, it's kind of a scary reality that this fictional series is based on. Would you agree, DB?
I would agree, and I think they couldn't have found anybody better to play in it, because it's crazy that this group of corrupt cops basically are tied together with this tattoo, and you and the Lord of the Rings cast members also got tattoos as sort of like a brotherhood. So it's sort of mirror image, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, except we had the name Number 9, which written in Elvish on our persons, whereas these corrupt cops have a big. I was part of a group called the Ravens, so they have that. But yeah, I suppose that's a kind of comparison. I mean, it's it's a club, isn't it? It's a club that exists.
It's a club within a club. Yeah. Oh, see, we're right here. Sean and I are thinking parallel. Right? We said that identical. It's a club within a club.
Twins.
Yeah, man, we might be twins.
do you guys get time to spend getting to know each other so you look more like a brotherhood on set? You know, like with the different gangs. Do you guys hang with each other and kind of stay apart from the rivals?
Yeah, I mean, I only met my as Tom Hammond, the character I played. I only met my family. I mean, mostly Ryan, you know, who was the lead part, you know, and Corey Hardwick, and you know, so you did. Just as a, you know, not through any kind of contrived way, but you tended to stick with the people that you knew in your family, and didn't talk to anybody else. Throughout the whole film.
Corey
never went out with dinner, never out.
None of that. Didn't have a pint.
Not with them.
Not with them.
Bastards.
Yo, he the greatest, yo. He should come back once a week, yo.
Corey Hardwick plays Cole Hammond, right? And Cole is your son?
He's adopted son. Yeah,
adopted son.
Yeah,
because he black.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only way you can say it. We didn't want to be rude, but it's like, damn, Sean, he black. How y'all gonna do that? We didn't see the whole season. Okay,
I think it's explained at one point.
Okay,
isn't it? 'Cause I was asking myself the same question, and then it kind of came up in episode 2, and think, oh right, I see. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And yeah.
Just for the record, there's nothing wrong with having a black son. Sean wants to say that too.
Yeah, nothing wrong at all with that.
But it's an I don't want to give it away, but it's exciting to watch. You know, I'll say that you can't really guess what's going to happen next.
No, it's pretty fast moving, and there's lots of twists and turns, and it's good. I'm glad that someone took that kind of story on and that subject, because as you probably know, I mean, I don't live here in the States, but there is so many injustices that are being done. But I guess that's by just you know, mistakes that the police make in general, you know, with false arrests and you know, all these awful shootings that happen. You know, usually. And young black men. You know. I guess that's a kind of a separate issue, but I mean, it's the fact that this kind of thing does exist, that this corruption in the force there to serve and protect is quite scary.
It's scary.
I think, yeah.
So it's
glad you bring.
Go ahead.
I'm glad, you know, and that's why I was particularly interested in it, because you know, they're not doing much. They're not doing anything that's very much different from what the mafia are doing. Well, they're buying drugs off the mafia, so you know they're hand in hand, and that's a scary prospect. That's a scary thing, I think.
He's talking about the Oath, y'all.
Yeah,
I'm talking about the Oath. Yeah. It's not.
Okay.
That's not Lord of the Rings.
Different movie. Mike Hughes.
Sean, here on the show, we actually talk a lot about politics and things that are happening here in our society, and you just brought up an interesting point in terms of the police dynamic, and this show is about police. We oftentimes in America forget that the world is watching a lot of things that we do, and so I'm just curious, over in the UK, I'm assuming you live in the UK.
Yeah.
Over in the UK, how is community policing relations that you see in social media and media, how is it discussed over in the UK?
How is it discussed over here in the UK?
How is what's happening here in terms of our police community dynamics relations? How is that being covered and discussed in the UK? And is it a conversation at all that's happening over there in the UK?
Yes, it is, and it's you know, it's very well covered. You know, it's just that kind of thing doesn't really happen in the UK. I mean, there are people and police officers armed with guns, but they're very rarely used. And it seems like I think the general consensus of some people in the UK is that the police have become over militarized, you know, and you saw with those riots a few years ago where the tanks were being brought in and all ex-military stuff that they didn't know what to do with. They just decided to give them to the cops and they use it on that. But, you know, I met a guy here and I can't remember his name, and I did an interview with him, and he was really that was his issue about young black men and kind of senseless killings. You know, that somebody says he had a pen in his hand, he had a this in his hand. It's self-defense. It's always self-defense, but to actually kill someone and shoot someone, and he campaigns for that. He's a TV presenter, and I forgot his name. But he's a really good guy, but. You know, I mean, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I kind of read a lot of stuff on RT.
Yeah,
just to get a different angle and a different story. I read Al Jazeera, and BBC, and folks. I like to see everything and then kind of make my mind up about things. But I think there's certainly, in answer to your question, that there is. You know, I don't think people can quite understand it. There's so many shootings and so many people getting shot for hardly anything, for being a perceived, in inverted commas, threat, you know.
I wish Sean Bean could have been my math teacher. I just love the way his voice is. I would have understood trigonometry a lot easier back there, man. It's just he's patient, and appreciate your texture of your voice.
Yeah, thank
you. No problem, man. You could catch all his voice in the Oath, which is now available on Crackle. I want to take a few callers, 888-742-3345. Let's go to Jenna from Texas. Jenna, good morning.
Jenna, what's up?
Good morning, Heather B and Sway and everybody there. How are you?
Good morning.
Well, I may fangirl scream, Sean Bean. Please forgive me if I do, but you were like my absolute fave, since Boromir from Lord of the Rings.
Oh, yes, thank
one
you.
of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
So it's my best friend's birthday, and she just joined me in the car right now. We're over here fangirling and listening to your voice. Yeah. I'm not even joking. It's her birthday today. So
happy birthday.
Say happy birthday to her.
Yes.
What's her name?
So her name is Elvira. You can call her Vira.
Elvira, yeah. Happy birthday, Elvira.
Yeah. That's awesome. Oh my God, I may faint right now. But I have a question, because this is where the Lord of the Rings, it totally broke our trust. Not Lord of the Rings, I'm sorry, Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
When you died. Was it a shock for you? And I'm pretty sure you get that question all the time, but was it a shock for you to know that you were going to be gone? And we thought, as fans, that you were going to be there forever. You were going to win everything. So was it a shock for you?
So did his agent.
No, it wasn't. It was when they first told me, because we met in a restaurant in Soho in London, and they said, "Well, we'd love you to be in this and that." And then towards the end, they said, "But you only last, I think, till the 9th episode in the first season." I says, "Well, that's okay. I'm busy anyway after that, so I wouldn't have been able to do it anyway." No, I can't. I kind of knew. I could sense it coming, and it wasn't. So it certainly wasn't a surprise when I was actually filming it. But you know, and then it's in the book, so you know, I guess you have to go along with that, don't you? Really.
Hilarious.
All right. Hey, Jenna.
I lost trust completely.
Yeah.
I just lost trust completely, and it proved me right. Everything in the Game of Thrones is not trustable, so but I do want to
They just don't care.
Anything for putting the characters to life, and you do such an awesome job of doing that.
A lot of other characters have come back to life, but I haven't.
Even a dragon came back to life.
Yeah. Everybody does.
So you never know, Sean.
You busy, Sean.
They
You
might
busy.
stitch that head back on that
7
body.
years.
You know, you never know, man. Thank you, Jenna. Thanks for your call, Sean.
Jenna.
I want to thank you for coming by, man. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show, man.
Been a
Thank
real
you, man.
pleasure.
Oh, pleasure's mine, man.
you.
Sean Bean, you officially a citizen.
A Sway in the morning.
Hey, now you got dual citizenship.
Oh, great.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, man, Sean Bean. The Oath. Make sure you check that out on Crackle. Check it out now. 50 Cent is the EP. He doesn't let us down. He's very trustworthy in his work. So make sure you check this. Did you meet 50?
Yeah, I met him in San Juan in Puerto Rico, and he came over one night, and we all went down to see him on set, and it was great to see him. Nice guy, and
real smart guy,
very smart guy, and it was good. And obviously I'd never met him before. I told a few friends, and they were like, "God, you met Fish? What? Did you get paid?" And so everybody was very. It was just great. I mean, I think it's such a good combination for him to be involved with this kind of material.
Yeah,
it really kind of gives it that edge and
that credibility to it too, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Because he deals with serious issues, and he deals well with them, and he doesn't pull his punches, which is makes him what he is.
And if you hang with him, you're safe no matter where you go in the world.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Sean Bean, ladies and gentlemen.
It's Sway in the morning, only on Shea 45.